I just finished The Unworthy by Agustina Bazterrica. This was dark, poignant, and often grotesquely beautiful. Also, crazy nuns. Inside the house of the Sacred Sisterhood, an isolated, radical convent of nuns who have discarded the trappings of modern Christianity, as well as the outside world, the superior sister keeps her sisters safe. In much the same way that Darth Vader seeks to keep control of the galaxy, by choking the out of it. The unworthy, who are the lowest members of the sisterhood, dream of ascending to the ranks of enlightened or chosen, where they might become full auras or diaphanous spirits. And these are the holiest women of the group, who are often mutilated and tortured so that their suffering might allow them to transcend the sins of their mortal flesh, and thus bring them closer to Him. Outside the walls of the Sacred Sisterhood, the world has collapsed. The internet is gone. Electricity is a bygone dream. Entire cities are underwater. And when one day a stranger shows up at the Sacred Sisterhood, our narrator's life is turned upside down. Once seemingly empty of any desire beyond religious usefulness, she is now filled with that most dangerous of all emotions, hope. As this new sister quickly ascends the ranks of the Sacred Sisterhood, their relationship is thrown into jeopardy, and our narrator is forced to confront her past, her present, and her possible future. I loved this book. I found the prose to be striking and beautiful, and I thought the format of a found journal worked really well in this instance. This book reminded me a lot of The Salt Grows Heavy by Cassandra Khaw, in the way that it's a relatively short read, but the lyrical beauty of the writing paired with the incredibly dark subject matter made a deep and lasting impression on me. I really loved the setting of this story with the secluded convent of insane violence-worshipping nuns. I thought it was really fascinating, and I would have loved more history on this group. But overall, I felt the page length was befitting the story. And in that regard, I think if this story had been dragged out too much longer, it would have lost some of its bite. There were some elements of the story that I found to be slightly predictable, and it probably doesn't help that I just recently watched the film Benedetta, which features some very similar themes: romance, insane nuns, etc. Also a great movie if you're interested in historical religious dramas. But the predictability of this story did not really detract for me. This book, for its relatively low page count, tackles a lot of themes: dystopian futures, the power of faith in the face of assured destruction, ecological crises, lust for and disgust towards the female body, among many, many more. This book was a lot like a deranged fever dream, and I think that really worked in its favor. The only thing about this book that kind of struggled for me, and I think that this is also by design and also could just be a Jeff problem based on the way and how fast I read, and that is that the narrator in this story often talks about things and people and events by kind of talking around them. They are not always very clear in their descriptions of people, places, and things. And there were several sections that I had to reread multiple times to make sure that I understood what was being referenced, and even then I'm not always entirely sure that I got it. Again, that's by design because this character is writing a journal, often in her own blood, by candlelight at night, with the immense fear of punishment should this be found. So being vague works in her favor. Probably just a Jeff problem. I do not think this is going to be a book for everyone. It's dark, it's very disturbing, and I think it has a lot of trigger warnings. But if you're someone who enjoys a walk on the darker side of literature, I found this book to be moving, fascinating, and absolutely worth my time. Part of me wishes it was longer, but ultimately I'm glad it isn't. And I definitely recommend it for those who enjoyed Tender is the Flesh. I give The Unworthy 4.5 out of 5 hammers.